자, 다음은 재단과 전우회가 전쟁 기념사업회와 함께 추진하고 있는 한국 전쟁 이후 북한군의 공격으로 전사한 101명의 주한미군 전사자를 위한 용산 추모비 건립과 관련해 다양한 사업이 진행되고 있는데요. 오늘은 추모비에 새겨놓을 101명의 공훈록이 어떻게 작성되고 있는지를 주한미군 역사 담당관 벤자민 해리스님을 모셔서 듣는 시간 갖도록 하겠습니다. 주한미군 벤자민 해리스 역사 담당관을 무대 위로 모시겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Annyeong Hashimnika and good afternoon. My name is Ben Harris. I'm the command historian for United States Forces Korea, and I've been asked to talk about the research that CUSAF and the USFK History Office has conducted on post-Korean War casualties. Slide, please. And slide again. So in January 2023, I was going through the USFK archives. I found a document that was U.S. Army personnel killed in the DMZ since 1953. And it had two attachments. And it was a list of, the first document was a list of U.S. Army personnel that had been killed in the DMZ. And the other two documents were breakouts of U.S. casualties since 1955, broken out by year or by, one was by year and one was by service. And none of those three documents matched. They were all different on names, different on numbers. And so that, as a former Army officer, I kind of decided to investigate this. And so we started doing research. And this was very fortunate because in May 2023, the former CFC Deputy Commander, General An, had his people ask, how many people has the United States lost since 1953? And I had a half answer. And I was able to say, sir, I think it's this. And I gave the why I thought that, and it was accepted. And then in June, CUSAF came to me, and asked for assistance or information on U.S. casualties. And so at that time, we started doing a real kachikapshida, working together to investigate the number of U.S. casualties. And it eventually grew into U.S. and Katyusha casualties. And so, slide. So over the last 2 years, we've been working to verify the numbers of losses of casualties. And we initially started with 92 names. There is a memorial on Camp Humphreys, right in front of 2nd Infantry Division headquarters, and it lists 92 U.S. names. Over the last 2 years, we've added 11 names to that. So now we're up to about 103. Slide, please. We have conducted research both online and on documents. We've requested assistance from U.S. and Korean archives. We've conducted or submitted Freedom of Information Act requests for personnel records with the United States National Archives and Records Administration, and we've done a lot of research online. Our primary sources have been internet or FOIA requests. We've also talked to the U.S. Army Casualty and Mortuary Affairs Operations Center to try and get casualty reports from for these casualties. Slide, please. So today, we are sitting right around 103 casualties, and I'm still saying right around because we have differences of how we are accounting for these or how we are classifying these. And you can see here, most of the 103 they're mainly Army. They are mainly, the mass of them were between 1966 and 1969 when we had the Second Korean War, the DMZ War, increased tension on the Korean Peninsula, when we lost many people. All but one of the Marine Corps and Navy casualties were from an EC-121 shoot down in April 1969, where the entire crew was lost, and that was made up of Marine Corps and Navy. There was also one Navy casualty with the Pueblo incident in 1969. You can see the breakout of, we have, most of these casualties are the result of hostile fire. However, we have also found some that were classified as hostile fire, but we have had to reclassify them as accidents or friendly fire based on the incident reports. And we still have 3 that are pending. We have a name, we have a date of death, but we don't have the details of how that individual was killed. We know it was killed in the DMZ. We think it was during a patrol, or one was stepped on a mine, but we don't know, was it a US mine, a North Korean mine? We're not really sure. So we are continuing to conduct research. Slide, please. And again, this is our sources of information. We started out with the documents that we found in the archives. We also looked at the monument that was erected on Camp Humphreys in 2012, and we've been spending the last time verifying those dates, names, and dates of death. Slide, please. Now here we have some additions to the list where we have added people beyond the initial 92. So Brophy and Hargrove, those names are not on the memorial that's at Camp Humphreys, but we found those names through internet research. And initially, all we had was a last name, Brophy and Hargrove, and we had the date of death as sometime between 1960 and 1961. And so by going through newspaper archives, we were able to determine that Hargrove was a soldier that was killed in the DMZ, but it was an accident. He was in a tank, and the tank turret, he was the driver on a tank. He stuck his head out of the turret, out of the driver's hatch. The gunner traversed the turret, and it crushed his head. And so that was an accident, but we still have him on the list. We also have this medevac flight. There was, on 15 March 1969, there was a work party in the DMZ. North Korean forces shot at the work party, and in one source, it lists Specialist Lindsay as being killed in that firefight, and then 3 other, two American and 1 Katyusha soldier being wounded. The wounded soldiers were loaded onto a helicopter for a medevac, and the helicopter crashed the same day. So we are correcting, we are adding the names of the medevac crew that was killed, and also we've discovered that it was not PFC Lindsay, it was Staff Sergeant McKinney was killed, and so we've corrected the information on that event as well. Slide. These last 2, Specialist Holton, he was wounded in an incident on 10 August 1967. He is not listed on any of our memorials, or we found him later. He was wounded. He was evacuated to a hospital in the United States, and he died of wounds 2 weeks later. And so we have, again, we've added him to the list. And these last 2, Hendricks and O'Malley, were both found. We found them as references to the naming of U.S. installations up near the DMZ, former installations. They've been closed down since. But they were both listed as having been killed near the locations of those camps. And so they named the camps after them. And so again, we're continuing to expand this. Up until last week, I had I was fairly confident that we have found everybody. Last week, I read a book, and it's about the DMZ war, the 1966-1969 DMZ war, and it differs on the number of casualties. And so it'll have this incident 4 casualties, where we're tracking 3. Another incident, the dates will be different. And so we're trying to contact the author of that book, gather his sources, and confirm that who's got the right answer, whether we're right or he's right. And so this is, again, it's a work in progress, and we're continuing to work this. Slide. Now, all of this was to assist CUSAF. I'm doing it as the USFK historian because I want to have a complete record for our archives and for our, when someone asks. CUSAF is doing it. They are working to establish a memorial to these soldiers that were killed, both U.S. and Catoosa soldiers that were killed. And so over the next couple of months, we will continue the research. CUSAF will brief the National Assembly sometime in the spring of 2025, and they will publish a book of this research sometime in the spring of 2025. And then at some point in the future, they will establish a memorial location to be confirmed or completed, but we are continuing to work towards that goal. They are continuing to work towards that goal, and I'm working to continue that. So having said that, slide. This is some of the other sources that we have used, some of the other organizations that we've contacted asking for assistance, trying to confirm information. And again, this is ongoing. We are continuing to research. Slide. And having said that, that is all I've got for you today. And subject to your questions, I'll depart. Thank you.